Rules were meant to be followed, but sometimes they're also meant to be broken. In the world of motorsport, rules are both a boundary and an opportunity. However, BMW had a completely different approach that revolved around the construction of a car that would not simply abide by the guidelines, but one that would change them. Now let us go back to the 1980s, when motorsport was everything, and there existed racing series like Group A and DTM, which required any car for competing to be related to a mass-produced car. BMW had to follow the FIA's very particular homologation provisions, which meant that if they wanted to compete, they were to produce civilian models of the 3 Series, which had been built for the racetrack. In the DTM series, the Mercedes-Benz 190e was a fierce competitor, while Volvo's 240 Turbo was a powerhouse of speed and durability. Then, in Group A, the Ford Sierra RS lined up as another formidable opponent, armed with raw power and a drive to win. BMW knew that just competing wouldn't be enough. They had to build a car that would set a new standard. So, in 1986, BMW took a humble 3 Series sedan, transformed it, and created something that would change the game forever: the BMW M3. The only way they could enter the high-stakes world of racing was through a unique loophole: homologation. Homologation was simple in theory. If BMW wanted to race, they needed a car that could tear up the track, but it also had to be available for the public to buy. But there was more. The DTM required a mass production of these cars, far beyond the typical numbers for a specialty vehicle. So the pressure was on. The higher-ups at BMW gathered in their strategy meetings, realizing the stakes were high. They could either follow the typical route, build a modified production car, and try to make it competitive, or they could take the rules and twist them. So, BMW engineers like Paul Roche approached the M3 with a single-minded focus. They were creating more than horsepower. They were crafting harmony. The engine was a high-revving inline-4 that seemed to pulse with life. It was designed to roar down the track and settle into the city streets. From its aerodynamic shape to its lightweight body, the M3 was the very embodiment of balance.
If the world's most passionate drivers got together to create the perfect car, you discover there's no such thing as the perfect car.
This is where the legend begins: the BMW E30 M3, a car born from the relentless ambition to win, to stand tall on the racetrack. When it debuted on the streets in 1987, an interesting thing happened. The world saw more than just a race car. They saw art. In many respects, it was quicker and, more importantly, livelier than others due to a high-revving 2.3-liter 4-cylinder engine. The E30 M3 was something of a revelation in the USA. It was the only one outpacing everyone else, alone with its 192 horsepower engine, in a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 6.7 seconds. But it also wasn't just speed, I think, more like how the man fitted in with the car. It would not only change the face of BMW's M division and help establish it as a legitimate performance powerhouse, but it would also define a generation of BMW performance cars. But BMW wasn't done. The E30 M3 would go through variations: faster, leaner, more refined. The Sport Evolution model, for example, pushed power to 175 kilowatts, launching the car to 100 kilometers an hour in just 6.5 seconds. BMW had made it clear they were creating legends. But as with any great story, there was a rival waiting in the wings. It was the Mercedes-Benz 190e, a car that wasn't going to let BMW have all the fun. It was a car built with the same race-inspired ambition, and just like that, the friendly competition became a full-on rivalry. Mercedes wasn't going to let BMW have all the glory, and the stage was set. Now, the engines weren't just roaring, they were clashing on the track. It wasn't just about who could go faster anymore. It was about who could claim victory not only in the DTM, but on the streets too. It was about honor. It was about pride. It was about bragging rights. And suddenly, the M3 had more to prove. But BMW wasn't backing down. They rose to the challenge. The E30 M3 kept getting better and better. With each new evolution model, BMW turned the dial up a notch, more power, sharper aerodynamics, better handling. But BMW, they're never satisfied. When the world thought the M3 had reached its peak, the demands only grew. More power, more performance, more glory. And so, BMW got to work, determined to give the people what they wanted.
When the night turns blue, as when God invented time.
And in the 1990s, they came with the next M3, the E36. The four-cylinder era was over. BMW introduced an inline-six engine with a powerful 286 horsepower. But it wasn't just about the numbers. It was also about how it felt. This M3 was not only fast, but also intense. But just as BMW started flexing its muscles, the game changed. Mercedes wasn't standing still, and neither was Audi. The performance world was evolving, and the M3 needed to keep up. By the late 90s, BMW was no longer just a brand. It had become synonymous with performance. The E46 M3, introduced in 2000, was a product of this newfound power. With a 3.2-liter six-cylinder engine producing 252 kilowatts, the E46 wasn't just about speed. It was about precision, control, and the ultimate driving experience. But the E46 wasn't just a step forward. It was a response to the growing challenges from rivals. Mercedes-Benz was making waves with the C63 AMG, and Audi was pushing the envelope with the RS4. The E46 M3 had to be perfect, not just to be better, but to prove that BMW was still the king of performance. And yet, as the world watched, BMW once again surprised the critics. The E46 CSL, a limited edition version, stripped down to the essentials and equipped with the lightweight M3 GTR's technology, was born. It was a track monster for the streets, setting a new standard for what a performance car could be. With 355 horsepower, it could do 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.5 seconds. In 2007, BMW understood that if it wanted to keep the M3 legend alive, it would need a daring move. It should be a potent new heart that will push the M3 further out of down-to-earth territory, which included the E90, E92, and E93 M3. It was revealed at the 2007 Frankfurt Auto Show. Under the hood remained the most surprising aspect of this fourth-generation model, a 4.0-liter V8, an engine that was partly setting, at least on paper, and partly thrilling in actuality. The new V8 came from BMW's 5.0-liter V10, which powered the larger M5 and M6 models. This M3 had 414 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, more than enough to hold its own in a road track battle. But there was more to the V8 M3 than mere muscle. The high-revving nature and lofty 8,400 RPM redline gave it a distinct personality that made reaching for the limit an addictive endeavor. It was also the first M3 to try and reinvent the wheel, with an engine that would scream this high in revs, unlike anyone before or since. The E90 M3 was offered in three body styles: sedan E90, coupe E92, and convertible E93. This adaptability opened up the M3 to an even wider audience, letting drivers enjoy BMW's high-performance machine whichever way they preferred. But the engineers went further than that. BMW even played around with an M3-based pickup truck, but this one isn't exactly what owners think of, which was made to haul parts around one of BMW's German plants, and is thus a one-off. The M3 truck may never have made it to production, but it showcased a fun side of BMW and teased fans that the M3 could be anything underneath all that metal. But the world didn't stop. The competition was fierce, and so, in 2014, the world saw the arrival of the F80 M3. This time, BMW faced a critical question. Could it move beyond the naturally aspirated engines of old and still deliver the thrill of driving? The answer was clear. The F80 came equipped with a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged engine, producing 431 horsepower. It was faster, more aggressive, but was it still an M3? The purists were immediately skeptical, but BMW had once again shown that innovation can maintain the core of driving superiority. The modern M3 is now a four-door sedan, a far cry from the two-door coupe it once was. Yet, it's still very much the same beast, faster, more sophisticated, and even more versatile. In 2020, BMW faced a new frontier. With the G80 M3, the M division had to confront its past while embracing the future. This was no easy task. For the first time in M3 history, the car would offer all-wheel drive. xDrive was introduced as an option, marking the first time an M3 would stray from its rear-wheel drive roots. But BMW didn't just stop there. The G80 M3 was powered by the S58 turbocharged straight-six engine, the same powerhouse that debuted in the X3M. It produced 473 horsepower in the standard model and 503 in the competition version. But the real story was the manual gearbox. Available only with rear-wheel drive, the G80 M3 offered a nod to purists, allowing them to feel the raw power and connection that defined the M3. And if that wasn't enough, the G80 would become the first M3 to offer a touring estate model, expanding its versatility without compromising on the adrenaline-fueled experience. For many, the M3 Touring was a dream come true. The G80 M3 had arrived, and it wasn't a beast. Testing at the Nürburgring alongside the M4 G82, it was clear that BMW was ready for whatever the future held. This new M3 had everything: the raw power, the precision, and the thrill that had made it a legend. But it also had something new: the versatility to move into the next era of performance. From humble racing homologation to high performance, the BMW M3 has become more than just a car. It is a living testament to the relentless pursuit of excellence. The journey of the M3 is a journey of resilience, innovation, and constant passion. As we look back on its history, we can't help but ask, what's next for the legend? And can anything truly surpass the glory of the M3?